Around the same time, Alexander the Great was spreading Greek influence beyond the furthest eastern edges of the known world. Another man named Pytheas set sail in the opposite direction. His first stop was a great big island just outside the Mediterranean Sea. He called it Britannia, perhaps after a term the native inhabitants used, Pretani, which is a Celtic word that most likely meant the painted people. Over centuries, the word became Briton and adopted the adjective great. Pytheas became the first person to document English culture, describing cottages covered with dry vegetation, grain stored in subterranean caches, and the baking of that grain into bread. The indigenous population, he wrote, are of simple manners and content with plain fare. They were ruled by many kings and princes who lived at peace with each other. If by plain fare he was referring to food, thousands of years later, we can confirm some things never change. Given he was a merchant from the port city of Massalia, it's fair to speculate that the economic purpose of Pytheas' voyage had something to do with learning where exactly tin and amber came from. The Carthaginians were one step ahead of the Greeks in this regard. They were already trading with northwestern European tribes for these precious goods, and frequently blocked Grecian vessels attempting to leave the Strait of Gibraltar in an effort to safeguard treasures while limiting their competition's understanding of the unknown world. Pytheas and his expeditionary team must have ingratiated themselves quite well with the Britons. They were provided a tour of the Cornwall Tin Mining operation. The industry flourished as a result of trade with developing ancient civilizations like Carthage. Pytheas made his way north, up the west coast of Britain. The locals didn't have many nice things to say about the people who inhabited the large island just west of them, what is today called Ireland. They warned the Greek explorer not to go there. When Greek geographer Strabo later described the isle, while conceivably referencing Pytheas' lost book On the Ocean, concerning the island I have nothing certain to tell, except that its inhabitants are more savage than the Britons, since they are man-eaters as well as heavy-eaters, and since further they count it an honorable thing when their fathers die to devour them, and openly to have intercourse, not only with the other women, but also with their mothers and sisters. There's never any love lost between the Irish and the British, nor the civilized explorer and native inhabitants for that matter. Pytheas ventured north of Scotland, considering his fascination with astronomy. One can imagine him visiting the standing stones of Orkney, Neolithic monuments that were as ancient to him as he is to us today. He spent enough time exploring the Orkney archipelago to identify 40 unique islands. He also couldn't help but notice the dramatic rise and recession of the tides. The Mediterranean waters he called home did not experience tidal changes so drastic. Pytheas was the first person to link the changing tides to the moon, although he could not explain exactly how the relation functioned. It's more than conceivable the local population shared this concept with him, following centuries of observation. Tipped off by Scottish natives of more natural wonders, the Greek explorer pushed further north to Thule, a land whose exact location is disputed to this day. After visiting Thule, Pytheas traveled south along the east coast of Britain, and in doing so became the first person to circumnavigate the island. To me, it seems plausible that the native people could have sailed around the island before the newcomer Greek. But hey, if you're the first one to write about it, might as well be the first one to have done it. Alrighty everybody, that's gonna do it for today's video on the Greek discovery of Great Britain. Let me know what you think of the exploration, and maybe even if it reminds you of the discovery of the Americas. My friends, don't forget to smash that like button and the subscribe button. I'll see you next time.